The history of China is often presented as a monolithic narrative, centered on the Han civilization. Yet, this perspective overlooks a complex and dynamic story of interaction with peoples from beyond its borders. Among the most significant of these external forces were the various Turkic groups. Their relationship with the Chinese dynasties was not simply one of conflict. It was a rich tapestry woven with threads of alliance, intense cultural exchange, and mutual influence. This intricate narrative shaped the course of East Asian history in profound ways. The echoes of this long and intertwined past continue to resonate in the region today. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping the full picture of China's development. Turkic peoples did not merely exist on the periphery, they actively shaped the very heart of Chinese history. Centuries before the Common Era, a powerful confederation emerged on the northern steppes. Known as the Xiongnu, this group is widely considered by many historians to be a proto-Turkic or at least a Turkic-speaking entity. They represented a formidable challenge to the nascent Han dynasty. From the 3rd century BCE onwards, the Xiongnu posed a persistent threat. Their highly mobile cavalry forces were adept at swift, devastating raids deep into Han territory. These incursions targeted settlements, trade routes, and military outposts. The constant pressure from the Xiongnu forced the Han dynasty to adopt significant defensive measures. This included the mobilization of vast armies and the establishment of frontier garrisons. One of the most enduring responses was the expansion and reinforcement of existing walls. This era saw a major phase in the construction of what would become known as the Great Wall. It was a direct response to the need to protect the agricultural heartland from nomadic incursions. The Xiongnu threat set the stage for centuries of complex frontier tensions. These tensions were not solely military. They involved intricate diplomatic maneuvering and strategic negotiations. The Han court sought ways to manage the powerful northern neighbors. A notable diplomatic strategy employed by the Han was the practice of hekin marriages. This involved sending Han princesses, often accompanied by valuable gifts, to marry Xiongnu leaders. These alliances aimed to pacify the frontier, though their effectiveness varied over time. Centuries later, in the 6th century CE, a new Turkic power rose to prominence in Central Asia, the Göktürks. They established a vast empire stretching across the steppes. Initially, they clashed with the short-lived Sui dynasty that preceded the Tang. However, it was their entanglement with the powerful Tang dynasty that proved most significant. The Tang, known for its cosmopolitanism and expansionist policies, frequently interacted with the Göktürks, sometimes as allies, sometimes as rivals. This relationship was complex and ever-shifting. A pivotal moment in this interaction, and indeed in global history, was the Battle of Talas in 751 CE. This conflict pitted the Tang forces against the expanding Abbasid Caliphate. While often seen as a clash between East and West, Turkic peoples played a crucial role. Turkic mercenaries and allied forces fought alongside the Chinese armies at Talas. Their presence highlights the deep military integration that had occurred by this time. Although the Tang ultimately lost the battle, the encounter had unforeseen consequences. One of the most significant outcomes of the Battle of Talas was the westward spread of paper-making technology. Captives taken by the Abbasids included Chinese paper makers, who brought their craft to Samarkand and beyond. This technology transfer had a revolutionary impact on the Middle East and Europe. The Tang dynasty proved remarkably adept at exploiting rivalries among the various Göktürk factions and other Turkic groups. They used diplomacy and military intervention to prevent a unified Turkic empire from posing an existential threat. This strategic approach allowed the Tang to maintain dominance. Furthermore, the Tang frequently incorporated Turkic warriors into their own military ranks. These skilled horsemen were highly valued for their cavalry expertise. Many rose to high positions within the Tang military structure, becoming generals and commanders. Following the decline and eventual collapse of the mighty Tang dynasty in the early 10th century, China plunged into a period of intense fragmentation and chaos known as the Five Dynasties and Ten Kingdoms period. During this turbulent era, a specific Turkic group, the Shatuo Turks, rose to remarkable prominence. The Shatuo had a long history of alliance with the Tang. They had served as loyal military auxiliaries and had been granted lands within the empire's borders. As the Tang weakened, the Shatuo's military strength became a decisive factor in the power struggles that ensued. In a stunning turn of events, the Shatuo Turks succeeded in founding 3 of the 5 dynasties that ruled northern China during this period: the later Tang, the later Jin, and the later Han. This was a period of direct Turkic rule over significant parts of the traditional Chinese heartland. The rise of the Shatuo demonstrated a crucial aspect of this historical interaction. Turkic peoples were not confined to fighting for China, they were capable of ruling it. They adopted Chinese administrative practices and cultural forms while retaining aspects of their own identity. This era highlights the remarkable fluidity of power and identity during times of imperial collapse. Loyalty and military capability often trumped ethnic distinctions in the struggle for control. The Shatuo's success shows the deep integration of Turkic elements into the Chinese political landscape. Their dynasties, though relatively short-lived, were significant. They maintained a degree of order in a chaotic age and continued many of the administrative traditions of the Tang. The Shatuo rulers saw themselves as legitimate successors to the Tang mandate. The Shatuo example underscores how intertwined the histories of Turkic peoples and China had become. They were not just external players but internal participants in the cycles of dynastic rise and fall. Their legacy is a testament to this complex relationship. Another significant Turkic group whose history is deeply intertwined with China is the Uyghurs. After the collapse of the Uyghur Khaganate on the Mongolian plateau in the mid-9th century, many Uyghur groups migrated southward. A large contingent settled in the Tarim Basin. Here, near the modern city of Turpan, they established the kingdom of Qocho, also known as the Karakhoja kingdom. This kingdom flourished from the 9th to the 14th centuries. It became a vital center along the Silk Road. The kingdom of Qocho was remarkable for its cosmopolitanism and cultural achievements. It became a thriving Buddhist center, with numerous monasteries, temples, and cave complexes adorned with vibrant murals. Uyghur patrons supported a rich artistic and religious life. The Uyghurs of Qocho excelled in trade, leveraging their strategic location on the Silk Road. They facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and religions between East and West. Their cities were hubs of commerce and cultural interaction. They also developed their own unique script, based on the Old Turkic alphabet, which was written vertically. This script was used for administrative documents, religious texts, and literature, demonstrating a sophisticated level of literacy and cultural development. While maintaining their Turkic identity and language, the Uyghurs of Qocho also adopted many aspects of Chinese culture. They incorporated Chinese-style administration, adopted Chinese artistic motifs, and integrated elements of Chinese philosophy and governance into their kingdom. This cultural synthesis is a hallmark of their history. The legacy of the Uyghurs of Qocho is particularly relevant today. Their descendants continue to live in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. Their history in the Tarim Basin spans over a millennium. Their story highlights a long history of settlement, state building, and cultural achievement in the region. It provides crucial historical context for understanding the contemporary situation of the Uyghur people in China. Their roots in the region are deep and historical. Beyond military and political interactions, the long history between Turkic peoples and China was characterized by extensive cultural exchange. This was a two-way street, with influences flowing in both directions. The impact was profound and lasting. One area of influence was in writing systems. Turkic scripts, such as the Old Turkic script and later the Uyghur script, influenced regional writing systems used by other groups in Central Asia. These scripts facilitated literacy and administration across vast areas. In the military sphere, Chinese forces adopted many Turkic cavalry tactics. The mobility and effectiveness of nomadic horse archers were undeniable. Chinese armies incorporated these techniques and organizational structures to improve their own military capabilities, particularly in dealing with steppe peoples. The Silk Road, facilitated in part by Turkic groups like the Uyghurs, was a conduit for the spread of various religions. Buddhism, Manichaeism, and later Islam all found adherents among Turkic peoples and were transmitted along these routes, influencing religious landscapes across Asia, including within China. Over centuries of interaction, many Turkic people assimilated into Han Chinese society. Through intermarriage, service in the military and administration, and settlement within Chinese territories, individuals and groups adopted Chinese customs, language, and identity. They became integral parts of the empire. This process of assimilation was complex and varied depending on the time period and specific group. Some groups maintained distinct identities for centuries, while others merged more rapidly into the broader Chinese population. This highlights the dynamic nature of identity formation in historical China. The presence of assimilated Turkic peoples enriched Chinese society in various ways. They contributed their skills, cultural traditions, and perspectives to the diverse tapestry of the empire. Their descendants are part of the fabric of modern China. The interactions between Turkic peoples and China did not end with the Tang or the Five Dynasties. Later periods saw continued contact and influence. For instance, there were exchanges between the distant Ottoman Empire and the Muslim communities within China, many of whom had Turkic roots or connections. During the late Qing dynasty, there was even interest among some Chinese reformers in studying Ottoman administrative and military models as potential sources of modernization. This shows a continued, albeit different, form of engagement. Crucially, this long history acknowledges the enduring presence and distinct identity of Turkic peoples within China today. Particularly in Xinjiang, the Uyghurs and other Turkic groups maintain their languages, cultures, and historical consciousness. Their identity is deeply rooted in the region's past. Understanding this history is essential for comprehending the deep historical roots of contemporary tensions and issues in Xinjiang. The current situation is not a new phenomenon but is connected to centuries of complex interactions, migrations, and power dynamics. Ultimately, the history of Turkic peoples in relation to China underscores their multifaceted role. They were not simply external raiders or barbarians at the gate. They were also allies, mercenaries, rulers, traders, cultural innovators, and settlers. They were active participants in shaping China's destiny, contributing to its military strength, its cultural diversity, and its economic prosperity. Their legacy is a lasting testament to their resilience and influence. This legacy includes contributions in art, language, trade, and the very survival of distinct cultural identities across millennia. The story of Turkic peoples in China is a vital, often overlooked, chapter in the grand narrative of East Asian history. It is a story of conflict, cooperation, and enduring cultural brilliance. If you found this journey through lost Turkic kingdoms and Chinese history fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite part. Dive deeper into untold Asian history right here on the Turkish Odyssey.